My name is Donna Tomassoni. I'm 57 years old. I just turned 57 in August. Went to college for the first time ever at age 56. And I'm going to graduate in May 2011, hopefully. Well, I grew up in Warren, Pennsylvania. I can still remember today being in kindergarten. I remember getting my mats and laying down and taking naps. And it was an old, old school and wooden floor. And I remember being in second grade, and then I was held back in second grade. And my mother said that it was because I was a nervous child. So I think that I just felt over the years that I fell through the cracks, and I never felt that I was smart enough to go to school. I arrived here January 2nd, 1990, and I started working at the Sheriff's Department January 22nd, 1990. My office was like in the center of the jail, and no windows, just so isolated. And then I found myself alone all the time in the office, and I started thinking after a while about wanting to transfer out of there just because I didn't like the isolation. And there was really nowhere else to go except for the position. I mean, I wanted a career, you know. They were going to move me to a position where I just sat in the room looking at a computer screen, opening and closing the jail doors. And I decided not to do that because I would have been in the same place emotionally and mentally as I was in visitation. And I wasn't willing to put myself through that, so I chose to leave the Sheriff's Department. Little did we all know that the bottom was going to fall out of everything a short time later. A year ago, October, I quit making my house payment because I just ran out of money. And my unemployment ran out about the same time. And I got in credit card debt for the very first time, and thinking tomorrow my phone will ring, tomorrow I'll get a job, I'll start getting more and more calls, and it just never happened. And I had probably 250 to 300 resumes that I had sent out in about a 9-month period. I knew I had to leave the state to look for work, because there was nothing else left here except for to get a piece of plywood. Right, I need a job and go sit in the medium. I mean, I'd done everything possible to get a job. I went to Pennsylvania, and I ended up staying at my parents' house, which it worked out. My mother is very staunch Republican. I'm Republican too, but I just happen to like Obama. So I called out the day of the inauguration, and I'm laying on the couch watching it. My mom comes down the hallway and says, "If you're going to watch that, you need to go to your brother's house." So I went to my brother's house, and my whole family just thought it was hilarious. So I did come back. I wanted to be under my own roof and in my own bed. I think I was gone for, 6 months, 5-6 months. And I wasn't gone that long, or I wasn't back that long, when I read in the paper about 3 o'clock one afternoon of an orientation going on at Edison for going to school on the stimulus money. So I immediately picked up the phone, called. Within 2 weeks, I started school on May 6th, I think it was. It didn't take me long, but at first I thought, what am I doing here? All these much younger kids walking around. And then gradually started seeing older people on campus, and you knew that, you weren't alone here. I never felt out of place because I was an older student, maybe because I don't act my age. But I feel like I belonged, and that's what I needed at the time, was to feel that I belonged, and that was important. The program that I'm going to school on is called the Rapid Recovery Program. It's the stimulus money through President Obama. It pays for you to go to school to get training. I was considered, and everyone else who was not working, a dislocated worker. So it's to put dislocated workers back to work.
Kenny, you're coming back too after a while for nursing?
Nursing, RN.
RN. So we have many students in the DLA, this is MAT 9024, who are coming back because the economy is so bad that their jobs have diminished or laid off, and they need something else to do. Yeah. And so they are here to get a second career in life, or to just, you know, after going through high school and maybe even 2 years of college, have found out that has not given them a job. So here we are again.
I have a case manager that I have to go see once a month that I have to report to. Her name is Helen. I try to give her a hard time every time I go. She's a little grumpy at first, but she's kind of mellowed over time. You know, she's only like about this tall. Once a month I have to take a timesheet and I have to have it filled out for each individual professor. And then the professor signs it just above me. And I have 6 of these that I take every month. And she looks them over and she types the information into the computer, whatever it is, to let it tell her. There was a list of programs that I could choose from, and one of them was criminal justice. I'm taking juvenile delinquency right now, and I can really relate a lot to that. I'm taking human growth and development right now, which I find fascinating. I'm taking sociology that I like right now. You know, I've liked just about every class. I've liked every class but algebra. I hate algebra. I mean, you know, I see kids right out of high school, and they can't even do the basic adding and subtracting and division. I can do all that. I learned all that, you know. I can't do algebra. I don't want to do algebra.
Reading and writing and arithmetic.
What we find is, though, after being out of high school for 5, 10, 15, even 20 years, that they have less recall for math skills in particular. This happens to be a developmental learning assistance course for those students to reacquaint them with the high school math level courses of introduction and beginning algebra in particular.
Now tell me, I'm 57 years old. What job am I going to get at my age that's going to deal with that? I'm going to have to do algebra. I have been told by several people that asking me if I really expected to get a job once I graduate, and I do. I have considered maybe being a probation officer because of my history. And I have also thought about to keep my writing going while I'm doing something else so that my writing can also bring in income. I guess going to school has just given me so much confidence that I can do anything. And it's also shown me that I do have other talents that I didn't know that I had. I've learned that I write very well, and I've written a book. I can remember before going to school that I never felt that I had lived up to my potential, and I always felt there was so much more in me than what people saw or what I was able to express. I kind of equate my life with, at that point in time, as if you picture 300 dominoes lined up, you push the first one and they all fall down. That's how every door that I tried to open prior to this closed. When I was able to go to school and everything just fell into place. I guess looking back at everything and what God has done since, you know, going to school, it's almost like I was on the wrong path all those years, and I'm now where I'm supposed to be. You know, when I thought about, you know, God years before, it was like, I'm so far off the beaten path, there's no way that I can get back on, you know, God's plan, but, you know, He'll take you anytime. If I had known I was going to do this well in school and get A's and B's, I may have gone shortly after I graduated from high school. And no one's more surprised than me.
Writing and arithmetic, taught to the tune of a hickory stick. You were my queen in calico, I was your